Hi, everyone. My name is Katrina Luffler, and I am the Executive Director of Facilitated Improvement for Corporate Success. And I'm excited today to provide you the first draft of the accreditation program for BCRSP for the accreditation of occupational health and safety education programs. We've been working really hard with the Standard Advisory Committee to get this first draft ready for you to review and to provide us your input. So today's the day. And we are providing you the opportunity to look at the requirements for the standard and give us your feedback. Up until now, we have been working with a standard advisory committee that was recruited from across the country, representing subject matter experts in occupational health and safety education. They represent provinces from across the country, as I said a minute ago. They also represent certificate, diploma, and degree programs, private and public colleges. And so they've been working really hard to provide us the content that we need to create a quality accreditation process or a quality standard document. So we're at this point now where the first draft is ready for your review. And I'll just go over it briefly with you. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is the standard sections. There are 8 standard sections, and we know that it takes more than just a curriculum to graduate quality occupational health and safety professionals. So each one of those sections contributes to the delivery of a quality education program. And the first section is on leadership and administration. And within that section, we have requirements within planning and oversight, finance and budgeting, program oversight, and privacy. So dealing with those issues. The second standard section is on program information and admissions. The third is on facilities and learning resources, and it includes topics that involve facilities and equipments, resource materials, and all sorts of things that have to do with online learning. The fourth standard section is all about student services and support, and it includes information or what needs to be in place for effective orientation for students, a code of conduct, information and resources, and accommodations that need to be in place to make sure that you are able to address the needs of your students. The fifth standard section is on human resources, and that includes requirements for hiring and performance, for faculty qualifications, for faculty professional development. The sixth standard section is on curriculum, and it's divided into 3 parts. There are some requirements that are requirements for all programs, no matter what type of program you have. And then there are specific requirements for certificate programs and specific requirements for diploma and degree programs. Within that particular standard section, we ask for specific embedding of the competencies that are found in either the CRST blueprint, exam blueprint, or the CRSP exam blueprint. So you can see those or use those as sister documents, because what we want to see is the competencies from those blueprints embedded in your curriculum, all the way from what's included in your learning objectives and your course outlines and your curriculum as a whole to how your students are assessed and what's included in the exams and so on. So those are not repeated in the standard document, but they are referred to in 2 specific requirements that are included in the certificate requirements and in the diploma and degree requirements, where we ask for a mapping out of those competencies. And then there are 2 more standard sections, Section 7, which deals with student assessment, and Section 8, which deals with quality improvement and evaluation of the education program. So that is in large part the topics or the overall themes that are covered in the standard. There are a total of 109 requirements, and what they do is they provide what you need to, as education programs, have in place in order to meet or to provide a quality education program to your students. What we expect from you is when you see that what, how do you meet that what in order to prove to us that you've adequately met the needs of the students that you are serving? So you will notice in the requirements that we use some language which is often referred to as vague language. We use language such as sufficient. Do you have sufficient this or that in place? Or adequate? Or regularly meet it, those kind of things. What we expect from you is to tell us how you define sufficient, how you define adequate, how you define regular, and then we will make sure that that is adequate according to kind of a 360 review of talking to students, of talking to faculty, of talking to staff. So this allows for the differences between education programs. It means that we're not looking for a cookie cutter approach to an education program. We are saying this is what you need to put in place. You tell us how you do it with thoughtful rationale as to why you chose to do it that way. So that vague terminology that you find in accreditation standards is very deliberate. It's to allow for that uniqueness between program and for the flexibility to have differences between education programs, knowing that quality learning outcomes can come from a variety of different directions in teaching. So that sort of explains why you'll sometimes see some vague terminology in the accreditation standard. Okay, so the last thing that I want to talk about is that with an accreditation process, we're not looking for necessarily 100% compliance with the requirements. We know that most education programs will not be able to meet all of the requirements, and that's not the intention. The intention is to help you identify where you are strong and where you need to improve. And so an accreditation process really allows that opportunity for you to step back and reflect and also get an external perspective on how you're doing. So it's extremely rare when an education program can meet 100% of the requirements. There will be a threshold established through the piloting of this accreditation process, whereby we will say, okay, if you reach however much of a percentage, a score associated with how many requirements you meet, if you are below that, then likely you're not strong enough to become accredited. But it certainly will not be 100%. I can't tell you what it will be, but it won't be 100%. So don't go into it looking for, oh, we have to meet all of these requirements. We expect that over time, you will put those requirements into place and make sure that they are met. But at this point in time, and I'm kind of talking to education programs, knowing that it's not only education programs that we're asking for feedback from on this particular survey. We are right now asking for as much feedback as possible from people who are familiar with the requirements of a quality education program for occupational health and safety. So this is your opportunity. This national consultation is your opportunity to provide us feedback on the requirements that we have drafted. And we will take that feedback and we will analyze it all. You can rest assured that your feedback will be kept confidential and it will be received anonymously. So we will be looking for themes. We will be analyzing it according to themes, which means that some of those comments that come in that are one-offs, that are outliers, they'll likely be, set to the side, although we will look at every single piece of feedback that we receive, and we will do our very best to integrate it into the next version of the standard. But you need to let us sort of look at that feedback and know from an accreditation perspective what makes sense to integrate. And sometimes there will be comments and there will be feedback that don't make sense according to a quality, rigorous accreditation program. So we won't necessarily be able to integrate absolutely everything, but I guarantee you that we go through every single comment, we go through all of the feedback that we receive, and we do our very best to make sure that we can integrate it for the next draft, knowing that we really need your feedback. We really need your feedback in order to develop a quality accreditation program for occupational health and safety education. So you will be provided a link that you can access the survey where you will be able to go through all of the requirements and give us your rating as to whether or not it's useful, it's achievable, it's relevant, and also give us some qualitative comments about what you might think is missing or what you think needs to be changed slightly with the requirements and the wording that we have so far. This is a 6-week 6-week process. You have 6 weeks to provide us your feedback. And when you sit down to do the survey, it will take you probably 1 to 2 hours. So allow that length of time, but you can leave it, save it, leave it, and go back to it if needed. But I'd recommend, and please follow the instructions that you'll see at the beginning of the survey for that. But I'd recommend that you allow yourself a good length of time when you do sit down to do it. So I want to thank you so much, and everybody who's been involved in this process. The Standard Advisory Committee has been amazing. They're all volunteers. They've volunteered a substantial amount of time so far to make sure that we have a quality first draft that we're bringing forward to you. So thank you so much to them and to BCRSP, the board, and all of the committees that have been involved in putting this together. And thank you to you for taking the time now to really go through and give us the feedback that we need in order to make sure that this accreditation program, that this particular standard really meets the needs of graduating quality professionals in occupational health and safety. Thank you so much.